Some people are gonna, they're gonna squint their eyes a little bit at this one. Being a liar essentially really is bad for you.
Bad for you because you hear yourself.
You hear yourself.
Because when it comes to the time when you have to perform, when it's on you to make the move, for you to do something, you're not gonna trust you.
Yeah.
You're gonna be like, I don't think I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
And that stops you from having credibility with yourself.
What I say, I do. Things that you say have to be true. So you have to reprogram your subconscious.
Yes.
And your subconscious hears everything. It hears what your parents were saying. It hears what's the radio, what you're watching on TV.
Right.
But more importantly, you can change your entire programming by talking to yourself differently. So if you start saying, I am positive, I am smart, I am brilliant, I am capable, I get things done, I'm a winner, things like that. You reprogram yourself.
You reprogram yourself.
You brainwash yourself.
Noelle. Yeah, she can fix that. You gotta get it done, or you need to do it better. Well, she can fix that. Yeah, she can fix that. Investment to get back, trying to get a big stack. She can fix that. Let's fix that.
Stop. You are watching a very important conversation on our podcast, but let me tell you about another very important cause: children's illiteracy. The Marley Sims Foundation is my nonprofit organization, and this episode is sponsored by the Marley Sims Foundation. We are committed to combating children's illiteracy because a child that cannot read by the 3rd grade is 3 times more likely not to graduate from high school and 10 times more likely to go to prison. We have got to start doing our part and start fighting children's illiteracy and get our kids reading. Please donate at marleysims.org and you can get this free t-shirt just to show your support and help us fight children's illiteracy. It is so important. This is a serious conversation, so let's get back to it.
I am so excited to have this conversation. Let's get right into it. So we are talking about The 4 Agreements, a book by
Don Miguel Ruiz.
One of the best books basically for any entrepreneur, any person. If you are on any type of journey to better yourself, this is one of the books that almost every person, every successful person I've ever talked to has recommended. I've literally seen people walk by. I was like, are you reading that book?
Right.
It's amazing. So let's get into the 4 agreements. Let's first tell you what they are.
Okay. The 4 agreements are: the first agreement is be impeccable with your word. The second agreement is don't take anything personal. The third agreement is never assume. And the 4th agreement is always do your best.
Okay, so we're going to break these down one by one and talk about it. Because to me, the first one is just mind-blowing.
Yes.
Be impeccable with your words. So in the book, he's always talking about being impeccable with your words, obviously, is what I say, I do.
Right.
And the reason why this is so important is because you speak things into existence.
Exactly.
And if you understand that you speak things into existence, things that you say have to be true. So if you're always a person that's like, oh yeah, I'm going to be there at 5, and you know good and well you're not going at 5, or you know good and well you're not showing up to that person party or whatever it is, you hear yourself saying that. And that's the problem with not being impeccable with your words. So let's get into this for a second.
All right. So impeccable with your word is so important to your self-development for yourself. There's always 3 C's in everything. And the 3 C's of self-improvement that I've learned, that I know, is the first C is credibility. The second C is confidence. And the third C is competence. So we start with the first C, credibility. And the credibility comes from exactly what Noelle, what you were saying, is that I hear myself when I tell my friend that, oh, I'm going to be there at 5. And I know deep inside I'm not going to be there at 5.
Right. Or I'm not going at all.
I'm not going at all.
So being a liar essentially really is bad for you.
Bad for you because you hear yourself.
You hear yourself.
Because when it comes to the time when you have to perform, when it's on you to make the move, for you to do something, you're not going to trust you.
Yeah.
You're going to be like, I don't think I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And that stops you from having credibility with yourself.
Right.
And the credibility that you have, once you know when you get involved with something.
Yeah.
Like when we said we're going to do this podcast.
Yeah.
You knew we were going to do it.
Yes.
That you're going to make sure that we're going to do it.
Absolutely. That's like the one thing that everybody says about Noelle. Like why I can get things done and why I have any level of success really is because I have a lot of credibility with myself.
Right.
No matter how I'm feeling, no matter what's going on, I just get it done.
Exactly. And what that leads to is the confidence. The second C, confidence. the confidence to go out and do it.
Yeah.
When we talked about this, you know, I'm doing my music, you're managing me, you're doing the things that you're doing on your real estate side.
Right.
We talked about doing a podcast together. We had the confidence in ourselves that we're going to do what we need to do.
Right. And it's going to turn out well.
It's going to turn out well.
Right.
Because it leads to the third C, competence. It's things that we have to learn. Like we're moving right now.
Exactly. We've made so many mistakes already with this podcast.
And we're going to keep shooting episodes until we get it correct, because we have the confidence to do it. And it all leads with the fact that we're impeccable with our word. Right. When you say it's time for us to shoot.
Yes, I say we're shooting on this day at this time. Book the studio, book the thing, get the cameraman ready, get the thing. It's happening. When
I call Rich at Lumi Loft, shout out to Rich, he knows that we're going to be here. He got it set up. He has us ready because he has confidence in himself. He knows we have confidence in ourselves, that we're going to be committed to do what we have to do. And that's what and being impeccable with your word help you. Yeah. So kind of talk about though the lack of that, because I think what a lot of times and sharing a real story, one of the things where even when me managing you, okay, so you have this music career. Yeah. And I'm being honest, there was times when I was just like, I'm not going to be able to manage you because you kind of would say something and then you would be on to the next thing. And not that you were lying per se, but just like, I want to do this and I want to do this. So you're just saying things and not really like I'm saying it because I'm doing it. I'm just saying it because I'm saying it. And to me, that's so frustrating. And it's so much with your growth as a person that I had to grow as a person, that people have to grow, is that the confidence part, that second C feeds off of the first C, the credibility part, and that feeds off of my word. It was things that I would say to people that I knew I wasn't going to do. I know I'm not going to be in the studio that time. Yeah, book it. I know I'm going to be there late. I know this. But what happened with me was it got to a point, and you get to, in any endeavor, as your self-improvement grows, with any endeavor, I got to a point where I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah. And then I was lost because I couldn't fake my way through it. I couldn't finagle my way through it. I had to really have the confidence to learn, how do I put my song out the correct way? The things that I had to do. I had to show up. And it gets difficult for everybody, any pursuit that you go through. It's going to get to a point where you're not going to be able to just wing it. Yeah. And talent is not going to help you. Yeah. You're going to have confidence in yourself to learn the next step. And that's the thing. When I would lean on you instead of say, you're leaning on me. Okay, so what's the next step? You have everything, your ducks in the row to set it up? Yeah. Have you set up with BMI? Have you done all the things that you need to release your song? Right. I'd be like, yeah, knowing that I had it, I'd be like, yeah, I got it. Right. I'll do it later. Not really knowing that if I'm honest with my words, if I'm impeccable with what I say, if I show up when I'm supposed to, if I do the things that I need to do, I will believe in myself, which I learned to do. Yeah. Then I got credibility with myself. I trusted me to do it. Then I got confident. I started to learn how to do things, and that's how I grew to be successful. Yeah. I think another amazing thing too about, like, you know what I'm saying, you transitioning from employee to entrepreneur and realizing that a rapper, a musician is actually an entrepreneur. I think people, you just kept saying, I'm an artist. No, and I had to keep telling you, no, you're an entrepreneur. You're an entrepreneur. You're going to learn to feed yourself and hunt, et cetera, et cetera. So another amazing point that we really got to get into, and some people are gonna, they're going to squint their eyes a little bit at this one. Another reason why you want to be impeccable with your words is because of self-programming. Yes. So in order to really become successful, and we're really talking about this and we're going deep, you have to reprogram your subconscious. Yes. And your subconscious hears everything. It hears what your parents were saying. It hears what's the radio, what you're watching on TV. Right. But more importantly, you can change your entire programming by talking to yourself differently. So if you start saying, I am positive, I am smart, I am brilliant, I am capable, I get things done, I'm a winner, things like that, you reprogram yourself. You brainwash yourself. Right, like Dr. Wayne Dyer says, you got to guard what your subconscious is hearing. Right. And when you're impeccable with your word and you're saying stuff, it's also getting deep. It's also a feeling. You feel, it's a way you feel. And off of those feelings, off of those, and I'm getting really, vibrations that you're giving out, you build a certain way. You build the way you react to the world.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if I believe that I am a competent artist, when I perform in front of you, you'll feel my energy.
Right.
You'll feel my energy.
Yeah.
But if I feel like I'm a so-so artist, or if I'm saying negative things to myself, if I'm saying, that's not good, or this is just so-so, you'll also feel that. And we tell the world, I tell you how to respond to me.
Yeah.
As I'm talking to you right now, I'm telling you how to respond to me. I'm telling you who I am. And that's what you're saying. When you be impeccable with your word, you tell yourself that I'm a trustworthy person.
Yeah.
And so you react to the world that way, and the world responds back to you that way.
That's right. That's right. So being impeccable with your words is for other people. You know, you're building that credibility, you're building that confidence, you're building competency, but you're brainwashing yourself.
Right.
So if you start being very impeccable with your words and you say something and then you do it, you say something and then it happens, boom, all of a sudden you're that person, and you can brainwash yourself into anything. Literally, I brainwash myself into millionaire.
Right. Right. By telling people that you're a millionaire.
Exactly. Telling myself that all the time. Somebody would say, a bill come, I'm a millionaire, I'm gonna pay this. I don't even worry about that. Like, and then it's just the energy. All right. So let's go to the second agreement.
Woo. This one is this is my favorite agreement of the 4, because it builds off of this one. And it is so important to get to the next level of everything you do in your life. Do not take things personal.
This is deep. This is deep, because people actually argue against it and say everything is personal. I've heard that argument. You know, people say this isn't personal, business isn't personal, but then you hear on the other side, everything is personal. Let's kind of go through that, because he, in this book, The 4 Agreements, again, don't take anything personal.
Don't take anything personal.
Yeah.
What someone says to you has nothing to really do with you, but it has to do more with how they feel about themselves, about their lives, about whatever movie they have going on in their existence.
Yeah.
And not about you. So you don't take what people say personally. We started with the impeccable word, which relates to those C's. Us having credibility, us having confidence, and us having competence to put this out, to put our podcast out.
Right.
Now, how people receive it, we won't take it personal. If what we're saying is not coming across to you, we don't take it personal.
Right.
We know that we're bringing value. We want to give value, and we believe in that.
That's right.
Now, but to some people, this is like, oh, this is hogwash, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
We don't take that personal. That would be that person's perception.
I would say to actually achieve anything, you have to kind of get out of your head. Like, let's have a real conversation.
Right.
Because when I'm saying don't take this personal, I felt like, yes, impeccable is a word. Like I said, I love that. Don't get me wrong. But this don't take it personal. This is 99% of what I am coaching and mentoring people and saying to them. Like, they take everything personally.
Right.
And then they make up these reasons like, oh, you know, I didn't get the deal. It must not be meant for me.
Right.
And and making everything in the world about them, instead of having the idea that, you know what, they were just having a bad day, or I don't even really care what they talk about. I'm not even attached to that. And so don't take it personal really goes really, really far. Really, really far.
Really, really deep. It goes to not being so self-important.
Yeah. Talk about that.
That I'm not the center of everybody's universe.
What you mean by that?
I have my own movie going on.
Yes.
I have everything around me, how I view the day, how I view the world.
Yeah.
My perception. Every other human being, you have your own movie going on.
That's right.
You have things that how you perceive.
And that's it's funny. That's kind of our language, and one of the things we talk about. Like, we have our own movie going on.
Right.
So, like, using that analogy, using that metaphor, whatever you want to call it, we all have a movie. We're the star of our movie.
Star of the movie.
You should be the star of your movie.
Right.
So other people don't really exist. They're the co-star or they're an extra. You get to say who they are.
Let's stay right there. Don't take it personal. Comes right there to you being the star of your movie.
Yeah.
Is that a lot of people out there are being the co-stars in their movie. You're taking what other people say as meaningful to you.
Yeah.
Like if someone says, you're whatever, you're incompetent. You're taking that as this is true.
Yeah.
That's for their movie. But in your movie, you're very confident. You're very able to do anything that you want to do. You are the one who are starring in your movie. You get to write the script. You get to write the ending. You are in control of it. But when you make yourself so important to other people's movie, they start to write in your movie. Somebody gives you their opinion and you take it into your movie like, oh, maybe I am incompetent. Maybe I am what so-and-so said about me. Instead of saying, that's just what they see in there. That's what's going on with them. But what happened is when you don't take things personal and you start to look inside for the answers that you need to move forward, how it feels, you have built the credibility and confidence and competence inside yourself. What happens is those people go away.
Yeah.
You start.
So how do you stop taking things personally? You know, like say for example, you're a sensitive person. That's one of the things I've always been accused of, is that I'm not like a sensitive person.
Right.
Some people even have said I'm not as empathetic as they would think I am, which is a little weird to me, but I built that up from kind of just not taking it personal. And I feel like that one did come easy to me, but it comes hard for a lot of people. When I'm saying like, don't take it personal, they're almost like, but they're talking to me. They said it to me. It happened to me. So how do you feel like a person really learns and embodies that whole, I'm not taking it personal?
By not taking themselves so serious, by not having fun with life. And this is something we always talk about, like playing the game of life. Like, you are the center of your universe. And you have the things that you are going on with every day. Everybody else has that same thing going on. Not thinking, here's the better term, I'll give it to you. Not thinking you're special. Those problems you have, they have too. Those things you're going through, they're going through too. You don't get to see inside of their movie. You don't get to see inside of their lives, inside of their minds. But you're letting them inside of yours.
Do you feel like this comes from social media though?
Yes, and that's another thing is we look at social media and look at and people show you the highlights of their lives, and then you take that and judge yourself off of it. You're taking someone else's idea of what is good and then putting yourself in there. That's taking that personal. That's putting you inside of somebody else's movie. Everything isn't for everybody.
That's true.
And so you have to judge yourself off of you. And the thing is, not saying that I'm special, that these problems that I have or these things that I'm going through are just me.
Yeah.
Everybody's going through them.
One of the things I actually think is that by being impeccable with your words, it actually solves not taking things personally.
Yes.
Because not being impeccable with your words, like I said, for me, is really about my self-talk, how I'm talking to myself, what I am saying to myself, how I am affirming who I am. So then if I affirm that I'm smart, I'm brilliant, I'm capable, I'm strong, all of my self-affirmations, then I don't take it personal when someone says, oh, you're not very good at that. Yeah, not very good right now, but I'm about to be because I'm popping. You know what I'm saying? Like I just talk to myself different.
Right. And what happens is that there's an inner sound that we listen to. There's a voice that we listen to in our head that's telling us who we are. And we always want to talk to our subconscious ourselves. We want to be the main voice because we want to be the narrator of our movie. What happens when you take things personal is you get all these narrators in your movie.
That's right.
All those voices in your head. What so-and-so said to me at work the other day stuck with me.
What my mama said, what
my mom said, what my friend said.
Right.
It's stuck in my head instead of saying, that's just what they're going through, what they're thinking, and dismissing it so that you don't have all these voices in your head talking to you at one time.
Yeah, it should just be your voice.
You should just hear yourself.
Yep, good point. All right, so let's get to number 3. What's the third agreement?
The third agreement is never assume. And that's part of not taking things personal. Never assume this person has a better idea of what's good for you and what you should be doing. The assumption part of this, never be afraid to ask questions about what's going on. Never assume is more about clarity is the number one tool to get to where you're going. If you don't understand something, don't assume. What's
funny is this is the one I read that resonated with me the least, if I have to be honest with you, because right, never assume. Great. But as a human, you have to make some type of predictions based on the past. You know what I mean? So if you say, never assume that you can only do that to me in the positive way. Like, never assume they're going to say no. Just assume the best. You know what I mean? Expect the best. Like, so it like assumption has the same thing as expectation. And I think you should have expectations for things to work out. You should have expectations that it's going to work for you. You should have expectations that you're going to, you know what I mean? Like positive expectations. So in that, there is an assumption of it's going to work.
I don't.
So talk to me.
I don't think that's an assumption. I think assumption is I'm going to. It's almost a guess. I'm going to guess that this is what is going to happen. Even in the idea of I expect this to happen.
Yeah.
When you're impeccable with your word, you're confident in what you're doing.
That's right.
You have confidence in what you're doing.
That's right.
You're not taking what everybody said. So that expectation is not based in an assumption. It's based in clarity that I know what I'm going to do is going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm not assuming anything.
So what is he saying in the book though? Because I really, like I said, it just didn't really resonate, but it resonated with you. So why did it resonate with you? Because I was just it
resonated with me so much because he talked about assuming about other people's thoughts.
That's a good point.
About assuming that someone think people want
assuming people think like you.
Right.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
And it resonated with me because I'm one of the people in the world that thought everybody thought like me. Like, oh, you guys don't think this? Oh, you guys don't think this is the way? And assuming that, and you won't go for things off an assumption. They might, like you said, they might say no, or no one's gonna like this, or I'm not gonna. I'm also as an artist, and all the artists out there can connect to this. You will get someone's opinion, and this falls off of the same two. Don't take it personal. Someone to say, "Oh man, that song's not good," and you assume everybody thinks that because you took what he said personal, and now your assumption is the whole world thinks that, and that's just one person's opinion. Never assume. Never be afraid, because your assumptions lead to fear to move forward and stuff. Never assume anything. Get clarity on it. Everything is for you to understand. You have confidence in yourself. You have confidence. What you're gonna have, what you want.
See, and I would just assume you're wrong. You say I make a song. You say it's no good. I just assume you're wrong. No, so I do still make
that's not an assumption. You have clarity. You have confidence. You are on the first one. You don't assume anything about them. You know that they're wrong. That's not an assumption that they're wrong. You know that they're wrong because I'm confident in myself and I'm confident. There's no assumption needed. I can get clarity in anything that I want. Anything that you want, you can have. You don't have to assume at any point in your life. You can get clarity about it. And the clarity comes from within.
Okay, well, let's move on because, like I said, that one really resonated with me the least.
Right.
Talk about it. Comment below. Would love to have a discussion with you about this. Like, do you feel like so far this is making sense?
Yes.
Let's talk about it. Comment below. I love reading the comments.
Yes.
Next one.
Last one is always do your best.
Now, this is to me like,
and I want to start off by saying this is that your best is enough. I used to always have this thing with this one. I would be like, like do what needs to be done. No, always do.
Right. I remember when you first read this, you argued against it.
I was so.
You didn't like do your best. So kind of tell people. Because I remember when you first read this, and I like that one the best. Like to me, do your best is something I'm always talking about. Like I'm always telling people, you want to be the best version of yourself.
Exactly.
No comparison, no competition.
Exactly.
But I'm just the best version of me. So always do your best to me was like, yeah, that's number one. That's a life rule.
Right.
But you were like, no, do what it takes.
Do what it takes.
Because your best might not be enough. That's what you were saying. And I was like, how could it not be?
It's always enough. And where I was wrong was it came back to number 2 and number 3. I was assuming that what I did wasn't enough. I assumed that's how it went, that I put it into some time frame. Like because I'm doing this, I'm assuming I should be there. This is why you never assume. I assume that in 2 weeks I should be where I should be, where I'm supposed to be at. Like I'm putting this work in. It's been 2 weeks. Why have I got to where I need to be? Because that's not where you need to be at this time. Doing your best, you will get to where you need to be in the time you need to be there. That was number one. That was the assumption part. The other thought was taking it personal. I'm doing my best, and someone on the side is looking at me and saying, that's not enough. Or I'm comparing myself to social media to this guy, taking it personal that he's already there or he's got this award or whatever. That's where I was caught up at. At that time, when I first read the book, I was in a spiral. I was caught up in myself, thinking about why I haven't achieved what I needed to achieve. Because I wasn't impeccable with my word. I hadn't got to the point where I was confident enough to be competent enough to realize that my best is is all I can do. Never do, and he also says in the book, never do more than your best.
So go a little bit deeper. You said you were in a low point. What do you mean by that?
I was in a point where I started to chase. I was chasing music. I was chasing a thought. I had assumed that a music artist should be doing this. Again, never assume that if I put X amount of dollars in here, I should get X amount out of it. And that it wasn't the case. I needed more. I needed to just keep going. I just needed to keep going. I just needed to do my best. Never do more than your best and never do less than your best. And you know your best by the feeling that you have. When you finish, you have confidence that I gave it the maximum that I could give it to.
Yeah.
Let's
It's a deep conversation. I think this is a great book for anyone. The 4 Agreements to me, I think is a great book for anyone that is looking for the answer. You know what I mean? If you're in a place where you're feeling like, I want to get to that next level, I'm not there yet, the 4 Agreements will give you every answer that you need. Don't argue with it, receive it. It's a book you could read 2 and 3 times over. And each time you're going to get something much better. So that's the conversation. Talk about it below, comment, subscribe to the channel, the Noelle and Diggs podcast. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Did you know that 2/3 of students who cannot read proficiently by the end of 4th grade will end up in jail or on welfare? The Marley Sims Foundation believes it's time to change this narrative. Education is the key, and literacy is the doorway to a brighter future. Hi, I'm Noelle Randall, real estate millionaire, entrepreneur, mentor, speaker, YouTube star, mom of 7, and so much more. And literacy has literally transformed my life. And together, we're on a mission to transform the lives of children everywhere. In the United States alone, 58% of 4th grade students do not read at a proficient level, but we can rewrite this story. For just $50, you can be a hero in a child's story. Donate today and receive our exclusive This Shirt Buys Books t-shirt and both Marley Sims books to give to a child. It's not just a shirt, it's a lifeline to literacy. And the numbers show it. Every dollar donated has a direct impact on improving literacy rates. Studies prove that children who read at grade level by the end of the 3rd grade are 4 times more likely to graduate from high school. Join us on this vital mission. Your $50 donation helps provide books, resources, and literacy programs for children who need it most. Let's rewrite the story for these children. Donate $50, wear the shirt, give the books away as a gift, and be a champion for literacy. The Marley Sims Foundation, transforming lives, one book at a time. Donate now.